that's what you were dealing with.
It was, I mean, they just don't digest.
It was
very well. Like, it's very aromatic, spiced,
heavily spiced.
Oh dear.
I want to see the video now of just everybody else's reaction.
I mean,
Is there video footage?
It was everybody. I mean, nobody else really got to experience it other than Parker's girlfriend. Luckily, I wasn't at the back of the wagon train when we were hiking back, and they were still sneaking out of him. But
it was a pretty sleepless night.
You know what?
For multiple reasons.
I'm just going to leave that as the intro to the podcast. Hello, everyone, with no explanation. This is Trends with Benefits. This is our weekly Roundtable Tech podcast here at Digital Trends, where we talk about the trending tech topics of the day and the week. In addition to being a podcast, we're broadcasting live on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and Facebook. There we go. So we're broadcasting on all of those, and because we're live, we can take your comments, your questions, whatever you have, drop them in there, and we will talk about those. Today, we've got a bunch to cover, actually. We've got some Google Pixel 3 leaks that the Russians even have an unboxing video of it. Somehow they have the entire thing. We've got the iPhone SE. Yes, seriously, it's like multiple sites, and it's crazy.
Man.
Yeah, they've figured it all out. We also have some Mercedes-Benz fancy headlights that will display things for you. We've got the DJI Mavic 2 drones, where Drew's going to fill us in on that. But first off, we're going to talk about the Sony AIBO. Now, you may remember the Sony AIBO from years ago. It's the robotic dog that they have, but now they're bringing it back, and they've got a new version that's loaded with AI, and we're going to talk about that. But the question I had was, would you rather own a robotic pet or a real one? And I can see some advantages.
Air quotes for the real
well, a real pet.
Real pet.
Is anything real? Like, no.
It's just a part of the Matrix, man.
Exactly. So we're going to talk about that. So I want to see what your comments and questions are for that and everything else today. Let's introduce our cast of characters. I'm Greg Nibbler, and to my right,
I am Parker Hall. I am an AV and entertainment writer here at Digital Trends.
And I'm Drew Prindle, the emerging technologies editor here.
And I'm Adrienne Warner. I'm a producer here. I make all those obnoxious ads that you hate.
What do people say when you tell them what you do?
They're really impressed most of the time.
Like, oh, so you actually,
like,
somebody actually is behind those.
I never thought about who makes them.
Well, let's talk about this Sony AIBO robot. So I'm taking a look at some of the comments, the questions that are coming through now. So go ahead and drop those in there. And the reason I wanted to bring it up is I think we're probably going to see more and more things like this. This new one is loaded with AI. And
still walks like an idiot.
Still walks weird.
It's got a nice tail, though.
It's got 22 axes of movement on it.
It's not enough.
Oh,
yeah, not enough.
What happens when they combine?
Oh, hell no.
We've got these videos of it. It's got OLED display eyes. It's got loaded with AI to where it can recognize up to 100 different people and remember its interactions with them.
Wow.
So if you're mean to it, it'll remember.
Wow.
Yeah, seriously. Like 100 different people. And it's constantly evolving. So it's got some connection with some kind of a cloud-based learning system.
So it'll take over your house when it gets reaches sentience, and then it'll...
Exactly. Like it learns about you constantly. So it's constantly monitoring you. And then it gets to the point where it can also patrol at night. So it's got sensors at its tail and its eyes, so you can sense movement and understand everything that's going around.
Okay, so this seems like way less of a toy than the original one was. The original one was just kind of like, buy one for your kid on Christmas. If this has all this AI and crazy sensors, like, how much does this thing cost? Is this like
it's
a couple grand?
It's like $2,600.
Who the hell is going to buy that?
29. 29, I think. Yeah. Well, and the Japanese. That's where it's been based so far. So
rich Japanese people.
Yeah, so because the first version came out earlier this year, and I think 20,000 of them have been sold in Japan.
Wow,
and those
20,000.
We got to get in the fake dog business.
The fake dog business is booming right now, and that was at $1,000, and then some kind of an $1,800 version. Now this one's $2,900. That's going to be coming out.
But
I think a lot of Japanese buildings, especially if people are living in Japanese business housing, don't allow pets.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Maybe that's kind of
it's a big thing, and it's really crazy. So
they're rich and lonely.
Yeah, they're rich and lonely. Like basically, you work if you work for a company, and this is not the standard, or this is not like the only option in Japan, but they will provide you with housing because housing is so expensive there and so hard to come by. And I imagine that a lot of them just don't allow pets.
Yeah.
So you're like kind of tied. If you want an housing option, you're tied to this business, and then you're like, well, I can't give my children the joy that they want. So I'll buy them this fancy dog instead.
I mean, I guess you don't have to buy food. You don't have to pick up after it.
You have to charge it.
I guess you have to charge
itself.
It probably has some kind of a charging system for itself.
Excuse me, I gotta unplug my cigarette so I can charge my dog. Welcome to the future, people.
Does the dog start to smoke cigarettes?
Does it pretend to pee on things, or like what's its?
I don't know.
That's in the 2.0 software update. Like,
I feel like the fur. It should have fur. Like you can add fake fur to something. I want to pet something nice and cuddly. Like, why does it have to look like a weird Jetsons? I just want to pet something cuddly.
If it had fur, would you be more apt to get it?
Yes.
Even if it still had like a weird, like hard skeleton underneath it, and you could like
just
feel
a little bit of fur would be okay.
God, that'd creep me out.
But see, that's not that far off. Then I'm sure they can make a fur version of the AIBO if you really want it.
Pull it off and put it in the washer and dryer.
Yeah. Right. I'm taking a look at some of the comments that came through. Vivek on YouTube just said, "Oh no, please God no, W2F." I think that's how a lot of people feel about it too. Yeah. But I think the technology. I think we could, especially with a lot of smart homes, hubs, and all kinds of things like that. Like we're seeing this kind of technology evolve. Now you're just seeing it move to where I'm imagining this is going to be evolving to where it could control everything else in your house too.
That's what I was thinking. It was like you put its skin in the washer dryer, it starts to control the washer dryer.
I just feel like I would want one that had other cool dog features. Like, first of all, it's too small. It should be able to get me a beer. Dude, number one.
You got to hold out for the
$2,700.
You got to hold out for the Boston Dynamics robot dog.
Yeah.
That's come out.
The combo version.
The Cadillac robot dog.
I want to be able to ride it. I mean, that would be really cool. Like if it was made of some kind of crazy metal that I could ride.
I mean, I admit that would be pretty cool if I could ride it around. That would
it
be
has all
awesome.
the bonuses of not having to like pick up after giant poops and things like that. And it should come in a really big size.
If it could be a guard dog, that'd be cool. Like honestly, that should be like the main selling point. It just like hangs out, has like cameras on its eyes,
laser
can play really like angry growl noises.
That's horrifying though.
I want to get a puppy and I want to get one of these and see how they grow up together.
Oh, you have the puppy adapts to it?
Yeah. Because I mean, my dog would probably try and tear it apart because he goes after like basically a Roomba and everything else. But that dog in the video was trying to have a good time.
My dog hates James, our Roomba.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Does not like
James.
it.
No.
James.
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 Take a look here in the chat. Timothy just said, many school kids go to school on Monday morning, come home Friday night. Parents work a lot, need time to take care of an animal. So this could be the substitute for that, of having that. I'm assuming you're talking about like
children leave.
I think it's probably. I don't believe Timothy's from the U.S., so it's one of those things where you go to school for the week and then come home.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't
parents,
know.
It is. See you later, Timmy.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I can see some advantages to this. I think we're probably going to see more of it, though. I think the U.S. is going to be a slow adopter, but overseas, clearly, it's already huge.
Well, yeah,
it's big in Japan.
I think we already the Americans in this room already want like the Ford F-150 version of this. Like if this is the small little, like I want the one I can ride that can get me a beer and that like maybe can project things on the walls.
It's got a laser scope on it.
It can like show the NFL game.
Well, that's true. Well, that's where it's at. So that's the AIBO, the Sony AIBO. They're calling it the first litter edition. That's the one that is out right now. You can read more about it and check out the videos and everything of it at digitaltrends.com and take a look at that. All right, coming up, we're going to talk about the Google Pixel 3 leaks and what apparently is really going to be on it, and also some iPhone rumors about Apple's big announcements coming up. But first, let's talk about the DJI Mavic 2 releases that came out today, really.
Did you get announced today? Did you guys see these things?
I saw the videos.
DJI is killing the game, man. Nobody even comes close anymore. Like, just hang it up. There was a point where I thought, like,
I don't want to interrupt, but DJI is the greatest drone of all time.
Dude, they are just crushing it. Like, these drones put everything else that has been released to shame.
Even the video is like so professionally done, and
I mean, the camera footage is amazing.
It's like the next Tom Cruise movie. Like,
the thing is, DJI is a camera company with like a drone problem. They've been making cameras and camera accessories before they really started like releasing drones. So that's always been a big focus. Also, they acquired Hasselblad, I don't know how to say it. Dan probably knows. It's a Swiss Swiss camera company, so they have a ton of experience making really, really nice cameras.
Yeah.
So combine those two things, and you get a really, really nice camera on a really nice drone.
Now, this is the kind of thing that you could just, like an amateur person could just take this out of the box and be able to fly this around and get...
And, yeah, an amateur person with, like, $1,500 to burn.
Right.
Like, you
know. I mean, you need the money for it.
Yeah, so these drones have come, like, this is the culmination of all of DJI's drones. They've developed all of their flight software. It's super sophisticated now.
Look at this fake buffalo.
It's so easy to fly. Were those fake buffaloes?
Yes, they were. They looked so fake.
That's just how good the image quality is.
Oh,
so real. It looks
feels like you're there.
But no, so they released two drones. There's the Mavic 2 Pro and the Mavic 2 Zoom. They are identical, spec for spec, but the only difference is the cameras that they carry. So one of them has a 1-inch sensor and it's a sweet camera made by Hasselblad. And then the other one isn't Hasselblad, but it has zooming functionality, so it can go from 24 millimeters to 48.
Wow.
Which opens up all kinds of really cool possibilities. You can't really do that with any other drone unless you're paying like $6,000 for it. So this is pretty cool to have something.
What's the price difference between those two?
Between the two that they released, it's about $200. So the Zoom one is $1,249 and the other one is $1,449.
Okay. So the Zoom is more expensive, or is less expensive?
Less expensive.
Okay. So why would you want the other one then? If they're
because
identical?
So the one that it's the camera is what you're paying for basically.
Oh, it's just a better camera.
Yeah.
But
So
you don't have
the
Zoom.
Pro version has a camera with a 1-inch sensor, so you get just basically like a wider color gamut, better low light performance, just pretty much better in every way. The only thing it can't do though is zoom. So you kind of got to choose what you want more. But based on the footage that I've seen thus far from both of them, like side by side, the zoom looks pretty damn good, even though it doesn't have as big of a sensor. So, unless you're like a professional that really needs those like extra colors and all that stuff, I would probably go for the zoom.
Really, for the $1,249. So, what about controllability? Like, how good is it in that
They're
category?
killer. Like, DJI's drones all feel the exact same in the air.
Yeah.
It's the same flight control software, although this one has a couple new things. Like, it has better video transmission, so it'll actually beam back 1080p video to your phone while you're flying it from a distance of 5 miles away.
5 miles?
5 miles. And that's 1080p. That's like full HD video.
So what's the technology controlling it 5 miles away?
It's called OcuSync. I mean, they're just using like radio frequency stuff, but DJI's figured out ways to like package all that data and send it to you.
Yes,
like,
you can
really
get
quickly.
the actual live video footage 5 miles away from this thing.
Live video-ish. I mean,
little delay.
If you're shooting in like 4K, it's going to be a little bit of a downgrade. But yeah, 1080p straight to your device, which means you could like feasibly just like edit video from your video cache on your phone without even taking the memory card out of the drone.
Wow,
that's just nuts. I mean, 5 miles away, I'm sure I would crash it in some way.
It's honestly terrifying. I feel like as soon as drones got over like a mile in range, it was like, dude, screw that. Like,
one gust of wind and it's gone.
Your palms get so sweaty as soon as you can't see it and you're just flying by looking at your phone screen. Oh, it's terrible. But they can do it, and they're so foolproof now. It's like they're bolted to the sky. Like, even if they get lost, they can fly their way back, like through the trees, dodge everything. These ones have 360-degree obstacle avoidance.
Wow.
Like up, down, left, right, forward, backward, everywhere.
Okay, I do kind of want it now that you're saying that. Like, we were just filming, me and my buddy were filming something a couple of weeks ago with his drone, and I was on the water, and the drone was like supposed to zoom by, and I saw it and just getting lower and lower to the water. I'm like, dang, he's getting a really good shot right down there. It just goes, and I'm hearing them yelling from the shore. I'm like, I'm looking at the camera. Like, what do you want? It's like, they're like, get the drone, swim, and it just sunk. And so, we had to feel around with our feet, and we found it and pulled it up, and it was still on, but it's just smoking. Like smoke coming off of it. But we got the footage, so there is footage of it slowly going underwater, and then like 2 minutes of feet around it trying to get it. But Yeah, more sensors the better.
I
is what
really
I'm
want
saying.
to see that. That sounds
I'll show you after this.
Maybe they'll be waterproof at some point.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the next
generation will be
One's
waterproof.
doing
I'm
it.
surprised like only one company's done it so far, and it's like this crappy Kickstarter company that like hasn't really sold.
Oh, if you could
anyone.
land
as
it
soon
on
as
water.
they have submarine capabilities.
Yeah, then that would be pretty awesome. So this is just, so you haven't got your hands on it at all yet.
No, apparently they've sent one, and it might be here. Actually, I need to go to the front desk and check if it's
What
like
are
here.
Oh,
but
yeah.
for it.
I
We
know,
have
seriously.
We should have a review unit soon. So definitely stay tuned and check back, because as soon as I get that thing in my hands, I'm gonna test it out and fly it and write stuff about it.
Awesome. So that's Digital Trends. Just take a look there. DigitalTrends.com. Drew will have the live review of that, and you can read everything about it right now on there too. So let's take a look now.
Fly it into the meeting.
That's what I was thinking. I was like,
miles
just
away.
take it to work.
Yeah,
Just
right?
up the elevator.
I'm here. Yeah. That would be a great video, actually. Just going up the elevator. All right, let's talk about the phone news that we have. So coming up here in just a minute, I'm going to talk about something kind of inventive from Mercedes-Benz, although it's an interesting way to throw out some display technology. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But with the phone news that we have, we've got this. So the Google Pixel 3, Google's going to be making their announcements on October 4th, but we apparently already know exactly what they look like, and even an unboxing video. And so this stuff is supposed to be top secret, but I guess there's two different Russian sites.
Dude, this Russian
that have
hacking
gotten
has
a
gone
hold of
too
it.
far.
Dude,
They got a hold
they
of the
can get
physical phone.
anything.
Now it's gone too far.
They can get anything.
Now.
Or it's a
Today.
really good, yeah.
It's the day.
Today's the day we just realized, oh yeah, Russia's pretty good at this stuff.
Oh my god.
So there's a couple of different pictures of what the Pixel 3 is. They even have like I said, a video that's supposedly showing an unboxing, showcasing the specs of it. We've got the Pixel 3. It says will likely have a 12.2 megapixel camera in the rear and two 8.1 megapixel sensors in the front. So I don't know if that's going to equate to some kind of a Face ID system.
Probably.
Or something, but I'm going to guess.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
3D.
If you're gonna have a
That's the
top-end
only reason
phone.
you'd have two cameras in the front.
Yeah, and I don't know if they're going to incorporate any kind of AR into it as well, as far as the apps. I'm sure they'll have some kind of announcement when it comes.
They
to
always
that.
do that, and no one ever uses it.
Yeah.
It's like 3D TV.
Do you have any use for AR? Like any?
I
at all?
mean, no. Does
No.
does anyone really? Like,
Yeah.
besides being like, "Hey, my phone does this" for like 10 minutes right after you get it?
Yeah. It's like cool. It's being
Yeah.
questioned in the chat. Let's see, on Twitch, to answer the Note 9. Okay, you're talking about the other question. Did you ever think this is a calculated advertising? I mean, maybe, but I don't really see the advantage to it of having,
I mean,
amateur
Also, why
unboxing.
Russia?
yeah, why Russia?
Yeah.
Russia. Yeah. I think
The
more
biggest
these
question here.
these guys just know how to get their hands on things.
Dude.
And
They certainly know how to pirate movies. I'll give them that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that they do.
Yeah.
So a couple of other things about it, just talking about the size. Oh, the one thing I did want to bring up is no headphone jack. So they're saying that this is probably going to be a USB-C only. Yeah.
Surprise, surprise.
Now,
I mean, that's
Parker-
just the way things are going.
It is.
Get
It does.
used to it.
It does. No headphone jack does seem to be the way everything is going. You have to get the USB-C, and then you have to get the
It's
adapter.
incredibly dumb.
Which means they're showcasing that perhaps there's going to be some wireless charging capabilities.
Yeah, big fan.
Which, okay. All right. Well, that's. I couldn't tell if that was
Yeah, I
sarcastic or
couldn't
not.
either.
I'm a big fan. Yeah, sorry, I am sarcastic.
Hard
but
to read that one.
No, wireless charging, good feature. No headphone jack, stupid feature.
Yeah.
Put the
Okay.
headphone jack back.
So even though
We want it.
this is the way phones are going, would you buy a lower end phone just for the headphone jack?
Yes.
I did.
Yeah. You did.
It's already happened.
The OnePlus 6 right here. Headphone jack at the bottom.
So-
I used it this morning.
So that's worth it to you over, higher end capabilities.
Well, I mean, so in the case of this phone, it has all the flagship like speed and everything. But I mean, I definitely was considering getting other devices. Although I will say a lot of flagship Android phones do have headphone jacks.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that Google did not, because
And again,
Samsung does.
We should say this officially. This is from these leaked websites, so we don't know if. I mean, maybe they're just really good fakes, but it appears
They
to be that
seem-
this is where
yeah.
it's going. So just putting that out there. But yeah, assuming this is the way they go.
I mean, Bluetooth headphones are really good, but it's annoying to have to use an adapter with wired headphones.
Yeah.
In 2018, like adapters are annoying, and so it's lame to have to do that.
Okay, that's the official
And they're
statement.
expensive, and you lose them frequently.
Yeah,
Right, that's true.
They
That's another
break too. Like for some reason they break all the time. Like everyone I know who uses one of those regularly is like, yeah, this is my third one.
Yeah.
It's planned obsolescence, man.
Yeah, I mean,
They just want you to keep buying adapters.
the good news is that Qualcomm has some really, really cool new fully wireless headphone chips coming out. We'll probably start to see some new fully wireless headphones with the chips in them later this year, or towards CES, and that's going to double the battery life of a lot of these. So you'll start to be able to get like 10 hours of battery life in fully wireless headphones, at which point you're probably going to be more likely to buy them.
Yeah.
So right now we're topping out at about like 5 hours, which makes them pretty annoying
which is
to use.
not long enough. So that's what we're seeing on that. So anyway, that's the Google Pixel 3 as far as the rumors and the leaks. You can check out everything that we've got at digitaltrends.com. We've got a whole write-up on it, and we'll see if the Russians are right. It's pretty crazy.
They've been right a lot.
I know. It's pretty nuts how, if this is real and they have a fully boxed Google Pixel 3, like that's proven correct, that's nuts. I mean, I wonder, who do you have to pay off to do that even?
I don't know.
Like, who are you buying that from?
They're really good at paying people off, I think.
Really are, apparently. Well, the other thing that we have is for Apple's announcements, which are going to be coming, I believe it's September 2nd. It's coming up pretty soon, as far as Apple's going to be having their event. And one of the things that is being rumored is that they're going to have a new Apple iPhone SE. So the SE2. Now, does anybody in here have an SE or a fan of the SE? I don't know. I'm an Android person.
I wanted one, but I had the 6, and I might be tempted to get this one instead of one of their...
Instead of upgrading
the SE the cheap one? Is that what it is?
The SE is the cheaper one.
I'm out of the loop with this Apple stuff lately. But yeah.
What are the kids into? It's got the Snapchat on it? Or can you play Fortnite on it? Yeah, this is the cheaper version, essentially. Yeah, so the SE2, and this has been long rumored that they're going to release this. Again, we don't know 100%, but probably. And it's also rumored they could release up to 4 different phones, so some different versions of things. But the SE2 is the one that...
Yeah, Russia needs to get their hands on this. And
right, yeah. Russia, will you please...
It looks like is that it? That's supposed to be the...
That's supposed to be it.
Like an
There's
iPhone 4.
some leaked images, Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
I
loved my 4. I loved it.
People do love that 4.
That phone lasted forever. I still know people who have them.
Yeah, of the SE or the...
Yeah. The 4.
The iPhone 4? Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be a good market for this because it's the price they're thinking maybe $450, $500.
Yeah,
so
that's reasonable.
Definitely
as long
a lot
as you're not
less.
trying to sell me another $1,000 phone.
Right.
Just piss off, Apple. That's ridiculous.
Hey, it's not just them.
I mean,
Google's doing the same thing.
Google's doing the same thing.
Samsung's doing it.
Samsung.
I'm not going to pay more
Everybody's
for a phone than
doing
I do for a laptop. That's just
the Note 9 is $1,250, I think it is. Like,
Get out of town.
Yeah,
Believe what,
like the high end
say,
version.
what's a laptop?
fair. I mean, you use one more than the other.
I think that's going to be the standard price of what you're looking at for the high end phone. $1,000 is where you're going to be looking.
You're just going to pay it off forever until you get the new one, and then you'll pay that
until you
off
break it,
forever,
and then and
then you're really screwed.
Yep, and then you're absolutely screwed.
Phones used to cost reasonable prices. Like that.
Old man Drew.
I remember when the iPhone was like $300, and I had a lump in my throat about that.
What if it could turn into a drone, Drew? Then
I'm there, dude.
Yeah, you'll spend $1,250 on a drone.
Right?
Okay.
Way less capability.
Yeah.
Doesn't even call your mother.
I can fly it to her house, man.
That's true.
5 miles.
Doesn't even call your mother.
All right, so there's the phone rumors that we have. The last thing I wanted to talk about before we wrap up for today is this new technology from Mercedes-Benz, and it's a different way. I mean, we all know that there's a lot of companies experimenting with like heads-up displays or using windshields as displays to overlay basically augmented reality while you're driving. Mercedes-Benz is doing it a different way with smart headlamps. So they're calling them digital lamps or digital light. So real inventive name. Digital light. Digital light.
I think that's already a thing.
Digital light. I know at first I was saying that. I'm like, no, clearly it had to be more. And no, that was it. Digital light. Okay, so digital light, and what they do.
This ad is like, so weird.
So the
really creepy.
the ad that we're playing right now this seems like a strange way to advertise the technology, but it's this car parked in the middle of like a plaza, and the headlights are displaying messages.
Women in a plaza.
That's exactly what it is.
No, it catcalls men too.
Yeah,
Oh, there
and
we
harasses.
go.
It harasses
And then
everyone.
a couple.
So the headlamps are working like this. They're displaying messages on the ground about 10 feet in front of the car. And it's spelling out different things like...
Nice
that one
outfit,
says,
you rock.
Nice outfit. Yeah, it's basically sexually harassing everyone. And that's what they're showing it the use for. But the actual, the kind of cool use that they don't show in the video for some reason is... talking about when they're actually driving. They've got some still images of that, so where it has sensors out there, it can help you. It'll show out in front of you, like show arrows. It'll show like construction signs. If the roadway changes, the different examples they gave of that, like it'll tell you what you're driving on. It'll warn you about construction ahead. Different things that it can display, and you don't have to move your eyesight.
Oh,
Yeah. So
that's kind of neat. Like,
kind of cool.
That's a cool idea. It seems a little unnecessary. Like, you might as well just build like the heads-up display like into the car, right? But like,
yeah, well, that's what we were talking about beforehand. Like, I don't know what the advantages of this over the other kind of.
Here's
like, I
what
just-
would get me to buy it. If you could customize what, like, if you just shout out something and then it would project it onto the road in front of you, so you could just be like, "Get bent! You cut me off."
Seems like that would be
Oh, yeah, that's what
pretty
we've all been
illegal.
waiting
Like,
for a long time.
it seems like you're not going to be able to tell it what to say because laws.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's the thing though. What if it does have
Isn't
voice
that just
recognition?
really dangerous
Well,
for
and like,
other people?
what's
Yeah,
the
what
number
does that
one
say?
thing that breaks when you get into an accident is a headlamp, and like,
Yeah.
how expensive is that to already
for real.
replace?
Gotta be.
Well, I
and
think
how
it-
insanely
they said it was
expensive would
on
one
the
of these be to
Mavic,
replace?
which is like $170,000 to begin with.
Exactly. That's where it's starting out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be on that
No,
car to
thank
start out.
you.
So it's not going to be something that most people are going to get.
It's
right
the kind
away.
of thing that, let's be honest, it's the kind of thing that really, really rich dudes with
the
drivers
AIBOs.
and Maybachs are going to be like, hey, but can you see what I can do with my headlamps? Can't do that with your Ferrari, Joe.
I can harass anybody I want to.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's really what it sees. Like, what are you going to put in there? What are you going to spell out to people?
Yeah,
You
they
know,
were
that
saying like
anybody's gonna
turn
be
signals
receptive
that
to.
it would do.
Yeah,
maybe.
see, that kind
that's
of
pretty
stuff.
cool.
The actual driving side I get, but like spelling out messages
Or
for it
just,
to
like,
display,
middle
that's the weird
fingers
one.
with money in the middle.
It'd be cool if you could like
I'm rich.
circle like potholes or something in the
Oh, that'd be
dark.
sweet.
That would be cool.
But like that's such a minor thing.
But
Yeah.
if
How
it could
much
do that,
do
if
you
it could
need that?
see them and recognize that there's a pothole there, wouldn't you just make it so the car automatically
automatically-
drives
Yeah,
around that instead of be like, hey, you do something?
That's
See
a
that?
possibility
You see
too.
that? Oh, you didn't see it.
Well, that's what they're working on. I just
Pretty
think,
cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is cool. I don't
It's like
like the
headlamp
idea.
projectors, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
headlamp- yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're using some kind of very high-end LED lights for it. I mean, you can read all about it at digitaltrends.com. They go into the specs. They're calling it's the 1 million micro mirrors per headlight is used
So
to
it's-
create the.
Yeah, 1 million pixels.
Talk to me when you get 2 million, Mercedes. I'm not
When's
impressed.
the 8K headlight coming out?
Voice recognition, though, just saying I would be in so much trouble driving down the street. Like,
Oh, yeah.
If it just printed out whatever I said about what I saw, yeah, I get kind of angry driving sometimes. so I don't think that
I
would work out
road
very
rage a
good.
lot.
Yeah, I do too. I don't drive bad, but I say a lot.
Yeah.
So that's where it is. All right. Well, you can read all about that at digitaltrends.com and take a look there. And everything else that we talked about this week as well is on there. And plus, we've got this podcast that you can subscribe to. So if you're watching live, make sure you hit subscribe to the podcast wherever you get yours. Just find Digital Trends, Trends with Benefits, and hit subscribe. Tomorrow, Between the Streams is normally live at noon Pacific time. Just an update. We're going to be live at 2 o'clock tomorrow because Ryan's flying from somewhere, so screwing everything up.
Fancy event.
Yeah, I know. Fancy Ryan's screwing that up. So we'll be live at 2 p.m. tomorrow for that. And send us an email, podcast@digitaltrends.com. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with another episode.